Holly from Gadgette, and we are in London at the Samsung Galaxy Unpacked launch event. Now, as we suspected beforehand, we didn't get the Galaxy Note 5 this time in the UK. It has launched in the US, but we did get the new Galaxy S6 Edge Plus, which is a bigger version of the existing S6 Edge, as you might have guessed. So it's gone up from a 5.1-inch screen, this is the original, to a 5.7, which is quite a big difference. So this is definitely phablet territory, and actually this is kind of what I was hoping for the S6 Edge, because as I said earlier this year, I actually think that the S6 Edge is the best Android phone on the planet right now. But for me it was a little bit of a deal breaker that it was kind of small. I mean, I probably could have lived with it, but the fact that there is now a bigger one, it's quite a nice thing to have. So, what's changed then? So apart from the screen size, the resolution is exactly the same, so still Quad HD. Obviously because it's a bigger screen, that means you're getting fewer pixels per inch, but it's not a huge difference. It's something like 577 to 518, it's not massive. And the RAM has gone up from 3 gig to 4, which is fantastic. That's good to see. Storage-wise, we're getting a 32 and a 64 gig at launch, so not a 128 this time. And colour-wise, it's going to be gold and black. Potentially more colours later, who knows, they may do an exclusive one as they did last time with the green, which was lovely. So we'll be interested to see what happens with that. Some of the other interesting things about this phone, they've changed the metal that they're using on this. So previously it was kind of aircraft grade, and I'm being told it's slightly more aircraft grade, which I'm not really sure what that means on a practical level, but apparently it is much more durable, which is useful. So the previous S6 Edge was about 50% more durable than the nearest competitor, which I think we can assume means the iPhone. And this one is 70% more durable, which is pretty cool. I've been told that they've tried 10 drops, and for every 10 times that they dropped it, they only had 2 breakages, which is not half bad with a lovely curved screen like this, especially the double curve. And it's protected with Gorilla Glass 4 3, so the third version of Gorilla Glass 4, which is slightly confusing. But yeah, it should be relatively durable, but time will tell. So what else is new on this phone? Well, the battery's received a bit of an upgrade. That's not surprising given that it has a substantially larger screen to power. So it's gone up from 2600 mAh on the S6 Edge to 3000 on this one. I would expect that will give you around the same battery life as the S6 Edge because of the larger screen. To be fair, the battery life on the S6 Edge wasn't amazing. It was probably one of the bigger downsides of the phone, not that there were many. But it does have the built-in wireless charging as did the S6 Edge. We're being told that it will charge from 0 to 100% in 2 hours on wireless charging, or 90 minutes on wired. Then in software terms, we have some really interesting video features in here. So the first one, probably the most obvious one, is the periscope alike. So if we go into this, you can see there's now an option called live broadcast. And what that does basically is allows you to broadcast on YouTube. So this is powered by YouTube, which is actually pretty cool and pretty huge actually as far as partnerships go. And so it allows you to broadcast, but only to people that you've chosen. So you choose them beforehand, you invite them. Strangely, you invite them with their phone number by SMS, which I think is a little bit of an odd decision, but that's how it works anyway. So you get texted a link, and then you can click that link and go through to YouTube. I'm told that if you click the link, you can't then pass it on to other people, but we haven't seen that in action. Interestingly, once you're streaming and people are watching, you do get told who's watching you or how many people are watching you. There isn't a similar thing to Periscope's hearts, where you can kind of you can see lots of people tapping the heart at the same time. Basically, they can only do what YouTube can already do, which is a thumbs up and a thumbs down. You can only do that once per video. Well, I was messing about with it earlier, and I was kind of thumb up, thumb down, yeah, and it does change on the screen. Interestingly, though, you can't see comments. So if somebody's making comments during your video, then you won't be able to see them as you're streaming, which actually I think is quite a good feature, because it means that, you know, if you're getting trolled or something, I mean, you would hope that you wouldn't if you're only inviting people that you know, but you know, it happens. So, if you're getting trolled and, you know, people are saying things that you don't want to see, you're not going to see those during your broadcast, which means that you're not going to react to them, you're not going to be kind of annoyed by them, and no one's going to get the satisfaction of seeing your reaction. So I think that's quite a good feature. On the other hand, it does mean that it's less interactive, because, you know, people can't give you comments and say like, oh, show me this, turn around, do that, you know. You're not going to get quite so much audience participation, I guess, as you might for a Periscope. But then again, Samsung are telling me that they've got kind of different use cases in mind for this. They're thinking more like weddings and things like that, where, you know, you're going to be broadcasting to a limited set of people who want to see your wedding, and those people probably aren't going to be kind of live commenting and saying, you know, show more of the bride or whatever. You know, it's probably not going to be much use for that anyway. So it's really interesting to see that they haven't just jumped on the Periscope bandwagon and done something exactly the same, but they've actually tried to make something a little bit different, which hopefully will have different use cases. And I think the YouTube partnership will ensure that this definitely does get some attention and hopefully get some use. I mean, most of us have got a YouTube account already, so it's not like a sign-up process like with Periscope. There's not going to be any kind of getting an invite and all that nonsense that happened in the early days of Periscope. So I'm interested to see where that goes. I do think people will use it, but time will tell. The other video feature that is new to this phone is the video collages. So this is pretty interesting in terms of, if I click video collages there, you can choose different types. So you can have kind of, you can have square ones, you can have two next to each other. So if I choose the two next to each other, basically what this does is film a thin strip of video. You can do 3 seconds or 6 seconds. Again, potentially probably looking at Vine. And you film that video and then you film another 3 or 6 second video and it places it alongside, and when those are watched together they play concurrently, which is it's interesting. I don't know how much people are going to use it, but again we will wait and see. But that's an interesting thing to see from Samsung. And then finally, in terms of the changes for this phone, the People Edge feature, which got, I think it's fair to say, quite a lot of negative comments on the S6 Edge originally, because people said, you know, okay, well, what is the curved edge actually useful for? And Samsung said, well, People Edge, you know, where you can choose a contact and you can assign them a color like this. So you can choose a color, say, so you might have your mum as blue, and then if your mum rings you, then the edge will light up in blue, and if you have the phone facing down on a table, then you'll see it kind of flashing blue. That was designed for kind of meetings and stuff where you need to know if you're getting an urgent call. Honestly, I don't think that many people have actually used it, and again, it did get a fair bit of criticism. But what they've done this time, so the People Edge thing is still there, but if you swipe across, you'll see that you can also choose a selection of apps to have as a quick launch, which actually I think is pretty handy. So if you're on the home screen like this, you just swipe in and it shows you whichever one you use last. So if you don't use People Edge, that just won't come up, and if you do, you can just swipe over and it changes. That's pretty cool. I can imagine myself having a set of kind of quick launch apps there that I want to get straight to. Yeah, I think that's fairly useful. That's a good decision. And then in terms of things that haven't changed, we've got kind of the same camera, we've got the same processor. Again, we have the same double tap the screen to launch the camera. So if we double tap like that, quick launch, it does that, it goes straight into the camera. I'll show you again because it's pretty quick. Almost instant, really. I think last time Samsung said it launched in something like 0.6 of a second. So fairly impressive. And again, obviously, the main benefit is going to be this enormous, beautiful, double curved Quad HD screen, and it is absolutely stunning. And the same was said for the S6 Plus, the S6 Edge, obviously. And it's really, really nice to see this in a larger size. Interestingly, they're not doing a larger version of the plain S6. I think maybe that's kind of where the Note comes in. You know, the Note's kind of already filling that gap. But as I say, we're not getting that one in the UK, so people who want a flat phablet from Samsung may be a little bit disappointed today. Me personally, I'm pretty excited about this. I've been waiting to get an S6 Edge myself anyway, and I was going to pull the trigger on the day that they said that this was coming, so I haven't done it just yet, but we're really looking forward to having a closer hands-on with this, and of course we'll bring you all the latest when we do. Thank you very much for watching.